You ever notice how the loudest question in a locker room sometimes comes with the softest answer? Myles Garrett gave one of those answers this week. Short, flat, almost exhausted. Quarterback direction has nothing to do with me. And for a moment, that should have been a headline about deflection felt instead like a plea for normalcy. Think about what that line actually buys him. It's not brush off energy, it's a kind of protection. Garrett is one of the faces of this franchise. He is the guy teammates look at when the tape's ugly and the blame game starts. By saying plainly, "This isn't my lane," he's doing two things at once. He's refusing to turn a locker room problem into a public circus, and he's shifting the conversation back to the things he can control: pressure, tackles, stopping the run. That matters. In a room where emotions are raw and patience thin, stabilizing leadership looks less like fireworks and more like a calm hand on the shoulder. Now let's zoom the film back. The Browns have lost 5 of their last 6. Fans are exhausted. Media cycles smell blood. Dillon Gabriel, the rookie starter, had another game with bright flashes and sloppy edges. 17 of 32, 2 touchdowns, moments of rhythm, and moments where his processing broke down. The moment that got everyone's blood boiling wasn't a touchdown or a sack. It was 4th and 1, when Gabriel had multiple viable reads and the offense turned the ball over on downs. That sequence landed like an old coin. Familiar, heavy, worth arguing about. When your defense leader says quarterback direction isn't his business, that's also a subtle complaint about the rest of the team. Garrett didn't say, "I don't care." He said, "I'm worried about the defense and the points we gave up." Translation: in close games, defensive breakdowns and special teams blips often create a hole no offense can crawl out of. If you churn yards but surrender momentum, the QB conversation becomes a distraction rather than a solution. That's the cruel arithmetic of these seasons. Small mistakes compound. A missed tackle here, a blown assignment there, and suddenly you're not debating talent, you're debating identity. Should the Browns rip the bandage off and bring in Shedeur Sanders? Fans scream for it. Pundits sell the intrigue. Everyone loves the headline, "Rookie finally gets his shot." But the danger of that headline is real. Drop a rookie into a band with cracked instruments and the result is not a symphony, it's chaos amplified. Myles Garrett knows this. That's why his answer felt less like apathy and more like urging for structural fixes. Still, nobody can pretend the quarterback drama doesn't matter. Gabriel's pocket work has been inconsistent. The offensive line has ceded too many easy lanes. Play design occasionally asks the QB to invent rather than manage. Those are technical flaws you can fix with film, coaching, and maybe personnel changes. But they are not things solved instantly by flipping a starter. For every rookie hero story, the debut that lights a city, there are 5 cautionary tales where the kid becomes a scapegoat for problems that preceded him. There's also the psychology to consider. Imagine being Dillon Gabriel right now. Very public scrutiny, fans chanting another name, and a coach who keeps saying, "We're committed to getting better," which can sound supportive or distant depending on how it's delivered. Young players tighten under that kind of gaze. Confidence is fragile. The worst thing you can do with a developing quarterback is expose him to consistent humiliation on national stages while expecting growth. The Browns must choose whether they want to develop or to perform. Those are 2 different calendars. And then there's Shedeur Sanders. Let's be honest. The appetite for him is real. He carries a story, pedigree, and a last name that pulls eyeballs. He's a tempting solution because he represents possibility. And in a town where the scoreboard is bleak, possibility tastes like relief. But reality bites. Shedeur was a day 3 pick for a reason. Goff teams evaluated him and found both upside and risk. Starting him now in a system that's not yet stabilized could accelerate his development or torch it. There's a high variance trade-off here. Are you comfortable with experimentation? Are you ready to accept the short-term turbulence in exchange for potential long-term clarity? Those choices define organizations. So what does leadership look like in this squeeze? Myles Garrett's answer hints at a mature path. Focus on the controllables. Don't let outside noise fracture the locker room, and force the front office and coaching staff to make the true decisions they were paid to make. Coaches should be judged by the changes they make on Monday mornings. Schematic tweaks, protection adjustments, clearer roles for receivers, not just by the drama of a midweek press conference. If the team fixes the line, tightens the snap-to-release windows, and clamps down on special teams fundamentals, you'll see the quarterback debate either resolve itself or be far more informed when a change is actually made. Let's play out two short scenarios. In one, the Browns double down on fundamentals. They clean up the line, simplify reads, and Sarah-ize the playbook for the rookie, meaning give him high-percentage throws, quick reads, and safety valves. The team stops gifting opponents big special teams plays, and the defensive unit remembers how to finish. In that world, either Gabriel settles in and looks like growth, or Shedeur gets a measured, less-risk debut. The season becomes about building. In the second scenario, the Browns flip the starter out of panic. Shedeur starts 2 games, the line still fails to protect, special teams still cough up points, and the rookie gets scapegoated. You get the headline you wanted in the short term and nothing to show in the long term. That's the kind of noise Garrett was trying to avoid when he stepped back from the QB conversation. There's a final human note here. Garrett's wariness is understandable. Players get tired of being asked for answers they can't give. Coaches get tired of being second-guessed in front of a stadium. Fans get tired of waiting. But sport, especially team sport, is not a referendum on sentiment. It's a ledger of work, corrections, and accountability. Myles's stance isn't shirking responsibility. It's insisting the right people make the right decisions. If the Browns want a clear path forward, they should treat this like a surgery, not a spectacle. Identify the broken parts, repair the fundamentals, then make the quarterback choice with evidence, not emotion. That is what leadership looks like in a messy season. Here's the picture you should keep with you. Myles Garrett, exhausted but resolute, leaving the podium with the same face he wears in the fourth quarter, focused, uninterested in theatrics, ready to do the dirty work. If the organization follows that energy, the QB noise will either die down or die well-informed. If it doesn't, the season will keep echoing the same question over and over: who are you building for? And if you want the line, you'll remember tonight, it's this: Garrett didn't refuse to engage. He just reminded everyone what actually matters. Stop pointing fingers and start fixing the plays that keep getting you in trouble. Because in the end, football doesn't reward the loudest voice. It rewards the team that does the smallest things better, week after week. Losing 5 of 6, the Cleveland Browns are in that ugly stretch where every decision feels amplified, and nowhere is that louder than the quarterback conversation. After another uneven showing from Dillon Gabriel, the media and fans keep asking the question, is the answer already on the roster? Myles Garrett made his position crystal clear in the most blunt way possible. When asked whether he supported sticking with the status quo under center, Garrett's reply was short and pointed. Quarterback direction has nothing to do with me. He doubled down on the point. His focus is the defense and the lapses that handed the Jets points and first downs. Who we stick with at quarterback is up to Kevin, he said. That response landed exactly as you'd expect from a veteran leader who's tired of repeating the same lines for a story he can't control. Garrett's frustration is real, and it's fair. But it also sidesteps the louder truth fans want answered. If the roster contains the problem, who makes the fix? Gabriel's latest line wasn't horrific, 17 of 32 for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he folded in the moments that mattered. 6 sacks and missed opportunities on critical downs made the final line feel thin. Worse, his processing looked inconsistent at times. Throws that should have been routine fell off, and on a crucial 4th and 1, he had multiple options and failed to convert. Those are not one-off mistakes you easily paper over. The locker room calculus is complicated. Coaches must weigh development, roster investment, and optics. The front office drafted Gabriel with expectations. The staff is publicly backing him. But public backing only buys so much patience when losses pile up and the fan base begs for Shedeur Sanders, a rookie whose name draws noise and attention even though he's yet to take a regular season snap. Garrett's answer, tight, controlled, and meant to redirect the narrative to the defense, reveals more than a personality quip. It exposes a team stretched thin by competing priorities. The defense, which should be the steadying backbone, is complaining about big plays and penalties. The offense can't sustain drives. Special teams have torpedoed games. When all three phases wobble, the quarterback conversation becomes not just an X's and O's debate, but a symbolic dumping ground for broader frustrations. What the Browns need is clarity. They need a plan that doesn't feel reactive. If the organization believes Gabriel is the long-term answer, then surround him with protection, clearer game plans tailored to his strengths, and a public cadence that accepts short-term pain for long-term gain. If they don't, then give Sanders a staged, protected audition, scripted drives, simplified reads, and a game environment that lets evaluators see what he truly is without setting him up to fail behind a shaky line. Fans are tired, and the media even more so. The constant quarterback question has bled into every postgame and press conference. Garrett's "not my problem" line won't stop the questions. If anything, it amplifies them. It's human for teammates to focus on their lane, but leadership sometimes requires addressing the noise head on. For now, that's not what the Browns are getting. At this pace, a Sanders debut feels inevitable. Whether that debut becomes a watershed moment or a flash of drama depends on how Cleveland chooses to handle the handoff. Doing nothing risks more of the same: incremental losses, rising ire, and a locker room that begins to lean on the narrative rather than solutions. Making a change without the right supporting cast risks burning a young player's confidence. Garrett is right that quarterback direction isn't his job, but his bluntness is also an invitation. If the team expects its defense to keep it afloat, it must give that unit the support and clarity needed to win. That means decisions at the top that answer the simplest question every fan keeps asking: who will lead this team when it matters?